Tonight on Taskforce Geek, we're going to be talking about the tragic loss of Chadwick Boseman, returning to the theater with the new Mutants, the Blood Bowl 3 video game, and much more, and that's coming up now. Welcome to Taskforce Geek. My name is Dirk Hooper, and I'm joined today by Scott.
Howdy!
Here that guy is. And Shawn.
Yep.
And our special guest, which is Byron. Byron?
B-Ran.
B-Ran. We're going to get it from Zlurpcast, and he's got the shirt on, so if you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, just look at his shirt. Right? Bring it. All the stories and questions that we're talking about tonight were shared on the Taskforce Geek Facebook group and the Taskforce Geek Quora space. Let's see if I can get to those. There's the Taskforce Geek Quora space. There is the Taskforce Geek Facebook group. If you want to get a preview of what we're going to be talking about, or maybe even share some stuff to those, then you could affect what we're going to be talking about next week. We are broadcasting live from my Facebook account. That's that right there, or Twitch TV, or our wonderful, beautiful YouTube address, which is youtube.com/C/Taskforce Geek. This is the second week we've done that. It's very exciting.
Yeah, it's nice to have a quick link. And
yeah, how about that?
And memberships growing as we speak. So, like, that's pretty cool.
It is, yeah.
Or subscribers, not memberships. I mean, everybody's.
Yeah, whatever. Please run over there. Give us some subscribers, because if we get quite a few more subscribers, then we can do some more things with this, and that would be really cool. So please subscribe on YouTube. Before we begin, let's talk about Scott Prime's review of Funko Marvel Battle World. That's available right now on that YouTube Taskforce Geek channel. You want to talk about that for a second, or are we done?
Oh, no, I can talk about it. If you are a person that likes maybe Funko Pops, or you like blind bag stuff, like the worst thing ever is when they come out with something new that's kind of like in a blind bag and it's like $4 or less. And I'm like, I'll just get one. Just, most of the time I even trash it or give it to my girlfriend who puts it in her treasure box for the kids at school. But I'm a sucker for those. So the Funko Battle Worlds are like these little balls, and you crack them open and they have some figures in there, and it's a little board game actually. So if you're more interested in that, you can go over to Taskforce Geek channel and look up Prime Reviews, and I'll tell you all about it. I will tell you this, Spider-Ham is in it, and a lot of other characters from the Spider-Ham universe. So that's also what got me in it.
Do you got Spider-Ham yet?
I do. I went straight to eBay because I bought way too many packs, and I was like,
you just cheated.
Forget this. Correct. I cheated. I went to eBay and I got the exact figures I wanted. And really, the game's all right if you have younger kids. I mean, probably my adult friends are never going to get me to buy it, play it, but they got me to go buy all the Spider-Ham characters. So, they won.
All right, we're going to go to our first subject right now. All right, our first subject is the tragic loss of Chadwick Boseman. This is definitely not a red alert. We've been talking about this for about 4 days now. The world has reacted to this sort of thing. I know that when I first heard it, I disbelieved it. I just didn't think that it was really possible that this young guy, who seemed to be at the prime of health, was no longer with us anymore. And I found the story quickly through Variety, and I knew it was for real. I'm going to go to Scott to talk a little bit about this, about how you learned and what you think about it.
I think it was on Facebook and it came up, and I was like, just like you, I was shocked. I was like, this is BS. And I looked immediately at the link to see if it was like an Onion article or something like that. And then when I found out it was real, I was actually shocked that he was as old as he was. I didn't think he was even close to, our age. I thought
Shawn and I both said that too. Yep.
I thought he was in his, young 30s, but it's kind of tragic, here's how I related this. Watching my children, and I can only watch my children. I can't, I don't know how they feel because I haven't talked to them about it, but I imagined remember Mr. T and how when we were 10 and 12, or at least I was about that time of the height of his popularity. I mean, like, I loved Mr. T, and it didn't matter, like, to me, Mr. T was like ascended race and everything else, like little white boys wanted to be Mr. T.
Sure.
And when my children, 2 female children, watched Black Panther, they wanted to be Black Panther. And I just think that's just a cool thing. And I can't imagine what it'd be like if, like I had little boys and, all of them who look up and admire this character, and, it makes you want to, be your hero and be better. So, like, I think it's a pretty tragic loss in a lot of ways because, I mean, I thought we were going to get multiple movies of the Black Panther character. To be honest, I haven't seen him in other movies, so I can't tell you anything like if he's a great actor other than Black Panther. But I mean, I loved him. He just was that character, and where they go, I don't know. I feel sorry for the next guy that takes over because those are big shoes to fill. And if I was Marvel,
wait a minute. We'll talk about that in a minute. That's our next subject.
Anyways, big surprise. I'm shocked that nobody reported that he had cancer, and then he just goes.
How did he keep that under wraps?
I mean, that is incredible.
Jane. Hello, Casey Jane.
Hi, Casey Jane.
That was our guest or our contributor from last week. We don't call her a guest because she's on here all the time. We're going to Shawn.
I was having dinner when a shout came across the table, I believe, from Dirk.
Yep.
That the news was breaking in, and I was much the same. It was like, no, that's fake. Someone's trying to troll you. But that was quite the shock. I don't know. It's not. I mean, he's an actor. So obviously, I'm quite a bit separated from it, unlike we're one of my friends. But I will say this was one of those moments. We've talked on occasion, probably not on the show. We've talked about how there were a lot of actors and whatnot from our generation, or
say that again. Bugs
that
out.
We there are a lot of actors from our generation, or that we grew up with, that are reaching those older ages, and whenever we lose them, it affects us more and more. But with Mr. Boseman there, him being what was it, 43, I think.
I think that's right.
With him being that close in age to us, that was like, wow, that was not only shocking because he was such an influential character in our Marvel Cinematic Universe, but even the other movies that he's been in, it was a shocking loss to Hollywood and to the world at large, the nerd world at large.
Right.
Very, very shocking. Very, very shocking.
Walt says to watch 42. Is that the Jackie Robinson story, folks?
Yes. Yeah, for Harrison Ford.
And you've seen that, right? Right,
I have
Brian?
seen that. It is a great movie.
Well, let's go to you then.
I heard about it on Twitter. I was just strolling it. I mean, as far as how I react, not really any more than anyone else who died. I mean, I'm sure everyone has had their lives touched by cancer in one way or the other. But I actually, my favorite role that he was in 2 movies. 42, which was mentioned before, was amazing. And I also really liked him in a small role in Draft Day. That was a movie with Kevin Costner as the GM of the Cleveland Browns. And Chadwick Boseman plays the draft pick he initially wants, because he has like the 16th pick or whatever, and is a star athlete, middle linebacker from, I forgot what college or whatever. And he played a really strong role in that, where ironically, I believe his sister in the movie passed away from cancer at a young age, and he had to take care of her kids growing up. So it actually kind of really touches you now more than ever. So, so yeah, I think I actually liked him more, I think, in Civil War, because I thought Black Panther wasn't quite as good as that movie, and I thought he was stronger in that. Even though it was a smaller supporting role.
Civil War was pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I liked it better than Black Panther, and I liked his kind of the angry Black Panther that he was in Civil War.
That's fair.
Ronnie says, "Why has no one talked about 21 Bridges?" I think that because we just haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that I didn't even know he was in Draft Day till I saw Black Panther? I'm like, that's what I know him from. And then I heard an interview with him, and I was just I'm like, he doesn't sound like he's from Wakanda.
Yeah, he does not. which is a testament to his acting chops, because he really nailed that. I think he nailed a lot about that role. I mean, he managed to be regal and kind but strong, and he has that act. I mean, he created that accent that is definitely not his regular voice.
What's funny is the town just north of me. I live in the suburbs of Chicago. Town just north of me is Wakanda. It's spelled W-A-K-O-N-D-A. It's kind of a lake town, resorty town. And one of the local news stations, the sports guy is kind of a jokester, and he was walking around a guy with full Black Panther gear, walking around downtown Wakanda. Saying, this is my beautiful country.
Do you think it bothers us that he passed away because he's in such a high profile Marvel movie? Because honestly, I know it sounds like cruel because I just don't know these people. I don't usually care when the celebrities and stuff die. I mean, they usually don't affect me that much at all.
Is there a selfish bone that says, what's going to happen with Black Panther 2? I mean, does it sounds terrible?
No,
that's our next subject. It may be disrespectful, but
here,
it's
did
also
you guys
the reality.
Video? It was probably from the promo of maybe even Endgame, where he was being interviewed and some kids with terminal cancer were talking to him about not being able to see the movie because they weren't going to make it, and he just broke down. And everyone started looking at that as no one knew.
I watched that, and I showed that to Shawn the other day.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty amazing, knowing now what you know.
Right.
It's pretty amazing that you can understand why he. But also, just think about not being a celebrity and not, because everything now is like you get points for being a victim and stuff.
He did
not cash in on that. He could have easily said 4 years ago, "Hey, I've been diagnosed with cancer, and I'm going to fight through this, and I'm going to win." But he didn't do that. He fought this on his own, and that's why it was such a big something that I really admire him for, and why it was such a big shock for all of us, because he held that in all this time, which is pretty amazing.
Do you think that he would have still been cast as Black Panther if Disney knew?
I mean, no.
Did he know then though when he?
I don't know for sure.
I think Disney would pass then. I think they really would have.
Yeah, because clearly they had a decade-long plan with that character. just like they did with Iron Man and everyone else.
Civil War came out in 2016, which is supposedly when he was aware of it. So
he probably doesn't have to reveal that. HIPAA standard.
No. I'm just saying he knew, or perhaps I suspect that he knew. Well, actually, they would have filmed in 2015, so maybe he didn't know until the film came out.
Right.
Sure.
And they could have decided. They could have decided 3 years before that they were going to hire him in that role.
Yeah. That's true. I was just curious. I mean, since we're thinking selfishly about, what do you do now with Black Panther 2?
If Disney knew, if Disney knew it was this serious, and who knows, it might have been something most people thought was beatable. Who knows? But if Disney knew, they would have passed on it. I guarantee it.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll say this: whenever they were filming,
Walt says he knew before filming Black Panther.
Okay.
Whenever they did the show Spartacus,
I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
The lead in that, he had his cancer had gone into remission, if I remember right, and the The showrunners knew it. The writers knew. Everybody knew, and they cast him anyway because he was right for the role.
Yep.
Unfortunately, he passed after, I believe it was the first season, which sent shockwaves much like this through a lot of the Hollywood community, because he was so young and because he was so fit and because he was so outgoing and whatnot.
You just don't expect it. The guy, the guy looks like Black Panther.
So
I mean,
perhaps they would have brought him on anyway to do the character. Yes, Ken.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
My cat is angry.
She's very sad about the Black Panther. Maybe they would have brought him on anyway and just
Wow.
finish.
wow. This
Just
is
let me finish.
This is good.
Pump is having his moment right now.
Well, apparently my cat's having her moment. I don't know what her problem is. Anyway, I think they would have gone ahead with him because, like you said, they probably picked him, several years. She just does not want me to continue.
All right.
Well, here's
all
the
right.
thing. Let me throw this curveball at you. Cast Michael B. Jordan as Black Panther and Chadwick Boseman
Well,
Killmonger.
okay. Well, let's right. You're saying in the past,
Yeah.
if they had reversed that, and that might have been a discussion.
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan has been, maybe a little bit more popular, so it would have been pretty easy to put him in that role.
I'm the only person in the world that hates the Killmonger character, aren't I?
I don't hate the character.
I thought he was amazing. I liked him more than Black Panther, but maybe that's just because I'm a weirdo.
Okay. Well, I'm obviously in the minority here.
I like him because he was a villain that he had an argument. It wasn't just, haha, I'm evil.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. He was a good villain because you could understand where he was coming from.
The only problem I had, and it had nothing to do with the character, it was that they cast Michael B. Jordan. I think they are oversaturating the market with him, and he's having kind of a Samuel Jackson moment where they just put him in whatever role because they need an attractive black actor. There are a lot of black actors that I think are far better actors that could play the roles even better than Michael B. Jordan, but they keep giving it to him.
Yeah, he was hot from Creed and
right. So he was on a roll, and I think they oversaturated the market with him. So I personally would have liked to have seen somebody else in that role, but as far as the role itself, I thought Killmonger was an awesome bad guy. I wish he would have been able to stay around. Well,
I would argue he's probably the best bad guy to come out of the MCU.
A lot of people said that
Because he's not a CGI blob monster.
If you don't count Loki as a bad guy,
I don't. He's too low.
then I would say probably yeah.
I'm not saying he is. I'm saying you can make the argument. Maybe.
Sure, I'm there.
One more thing I want to say about Chadwick Boseman before we kind of move on to our next subject, our tangential subject, is from all accounts, everyone says that he was genuinely a nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
All of the people who are around him and who know him, you never really know people who are in the press, but the people who knew him best all had really great things to say about him. And I think it's really important to, while we're talking about him, to say not only was he a good role model on the screen, but he was a good role model off the screen too, which is not so bad. So our next subject here on the same deal is, because we got to talk about it. This is maybe a little bit more along the lines of kind of what we know, and we can, we can game stuff out. What's next for Black Panther? So to that, I'm just going to go to Scott.
There's a couple of options. I mean, you can just recast the character. It wouldn't be the first time in the Marvel universe, even though Rhodey was, a less big name in the Marvel universe. They could go the direction of his sister taking over or somebody in his family, because that has happened in the Marvel comics before. So it wouldn't be the first time. Mm-hmm.
I loved her character. So
I mean, I didn't read it, but I know at one time there was a female Black Panther within the last 10 to 15 years.
I don't think they would do that with the Thor being switched over.
Right. It might be bad timing on that. I mean, maybe you just let this go for a little bit and recast it.
Pushed out to the right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Walt
I don't know.
brings up a really great point, which is he feels happy and sad for whoever gets recast as Black Panther.
Right.
That's going to be a tough role.
Sure. That's what I'm saying. It's big shoes to fill, because even if you're great, everybody's going to remember the first one, right? I mean, like, it'd been like if they would have recast the Joker, what's his face's Joker character. They couldn't do that because he was so good at that,
Right.
So I don't know. Big choices, and maybe just Wakanda's in the background and you keep Surrey in the background. I mean, like with technology though, and all the deep fake stuff, I mean, maybe they could keep him around even though he's not here. They did it with Star Wars, right?
I mean, it's a possibility.
I doubt for that much screen time for a person, but I'm just saying, like, you can still show, Wakanda activities and stuff like that. You could also put somebody in the suit and just have them stay in the suit all the time. I mean, like, but I don't think they'll do that. Good luck, Disney.
All right, Shawn, you're up.
Well, my initial thought would be that Shuri is going to become the next Black Panther. She's been Black Panther in the comics.
Okay, so it was her?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if she's currently Black Panther, but I know there at one point she was a Black Panther. I suspect that'll be the shift. Now, as far as recasting, you can't recast that role. Not at this
I don't
point.
think so. I don't.
With him being a lead, with him being a lead actor in that role, you can't just recast it and move on. Were he a secondary character? Were he a background character? Sure. Like Rhodey, he was not the main character. You don't take Iron Man and then in Iron Man 2 you recast Tony Stark with John Hamm. It wouldn't work. They can't recast the role without causing a lot of problems for not the universe but the fan base. Everybody would lose their ever-loving minds as being disrespectful to what Chadwick Boseman did. He didn't play that character. He created that character. He made that character something unique and special and beloved. And
he ruined it for everyone else.
Pretty much. I had even talked about I can't think of his name. It just left me. The guy in Tenet.
Denzel Washington's son.
Yeah.
Right. He would be fantastic, I think, as Black Panther. But again, you're putting a Band-Aid over an open wound, and it would not feel right. It wouldn't read right, and I think it would be viewed as disrespectful by the community.
Yeah.
Which nobody wants that right now. There's too much. There are too many. How do I want to put it? There are too many people watching this to see what's going to happen with it. It just wouldn't feel right. I think that they'll make a shift that will keep the memory or keep the legacy of Chadwick Boseman's character alive, and yet allow the production to move on with his memory still alive in the film. And I think what they'll end up doing is contriving some sort of some sort of incident, like say like a wormhole or something will open up and we'll see Black Panther in full costume get sucked into it, and then Black Panther will be done for a time when all the hurt and all the anxiety can kind of wane, and they can bring in another actor at a later date, 5-6 years down the road. But right now, I think they'll transition over to Shuri, and who was an awesome character in her own right. She was absolutely fantastic.
My concern with Shuri is her physical presence. She's such a waif-like creature, similar to like Natalie Portman is Thor.
I think kind of like what Scott said, and I've even said in episodes past with in reference to Batman, anybody can be in that costume. Doesn't matter. You can literally put a professional gymnast in that costume to do anything and everything, and then you pop the helmet off and you got Shuri's head there. You don't need her to be the physical embodiment of the character. You just need somebody with a similar frame that can impress us with their acrobatics.
Don't forget they opened up the multiple universe possibilities with the Spider-Verse series. So like Shawn said, I even thought of that, where two Black Panthers shows up, one of them goes home, maybe the villain throws one through the portal or whatever, and then we get the alternate reality one who's slightly different under the mask. Oh, I'm 10 years younger. Look at me.
Yeah, but again, they're not going to do that in this next movie because no. It's
in time.
Yeah. That's what I suspect. I suspect that's how they're
Walt, I thought of your idea too, because I know that they were talking, there's rumblings that the Atlanteans could be in some of the movies and stuff, and Namor killing him, where they just kill him off right at the beginning, and then
they've
have
also
to
mentioned Dr. Doom on that next Black Panther movie too, for whatever reason.
Well,
would someone send Walt a link to tonight's episode? He wanted to make an appearance and make an announcement.
Oh, okay, please. Sure. I'll take care of it.
I sent a discreet message, but go ahead, B-Ran.
So I think they will recast him. I think they're going to push Black Panther 2 out to the right to at least 2024. Oh. And they will recast him. I think John Washington.
It's cat night on Taskforce Geek.
Yeah, he'd be great in that role. And I think if you wait till 2024, people will start to warm to the idea. I don't think anyone is better liked in the African American film community than Denzel Washington.
Amen to that. I love that dude.
And I think that could work. He's got the and again I'm old school. I think they should physically look the part, and he's a former football player, big guy, strong guy.
Yeah,
he'd be great.
I agree.
I think that's that's as good an idea as any on this thing. So I figured they got like about 3 different options. They can recast. We've talked about that. They could put someone that's already in the MCU in the role. We've talked about that. Or they can do something really wacky, which is kind of what Scott mentioned there. I mean, when you're talking about comics and you're talking about the multiverse, you could literally put anyone that you want into that role. It's a shame that they killed off, spoiler alert, that they killed off Killmonger in the first movie, because they could easily have a redemption story where Killmonger, who already has taken the magic plant and has Black Panther's powers, could be redeemed through some sort of action or something and could become the new Black Panther. I looked up to see who in the Marvel Universe in the comics has also been Black Panther, and you might be surprised by some of these people. One of them is Killmonger. They also have Black Panthers from the past, like 1,000,000 BC. And they have also Black Panthers from the future who have been in there. So they've also had sons of Black Panther who have held the title. Shuri has held the title in the comics. Also Aurora, which is Storm from the X-Men, who was married to Black Panther for a while. She took over the mantle of Black Panther, which I think is interesting. Obviously,
and that's been the wish list, is to introduce the X-Men by having Storm be in Black Panther. That was a lot of people hoping for that.
I mean, there you go. That would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
I think we just wrote the next Disney movie. Here you go. We take my idea of the alternate timeline thing and the dimensions, and they keep the Chadwick Boseman character in the costume, right, played by another actor, and another one comes in, and then Doom sends the wrong one back to the alternate universe, and then he pulls off the mask, and he's what's his face, Killmonger's character, who in the alternate universe was like really pure and awesome, and then we get that character not with all the little scars and stuff, and he's like a good dude, and they move on.
Right. I mean,
there you go. Thank you. You're welcome, Disney.
Two other people who have been Black Panther is, surprisingly enough, Captain America. Obviously, we're not going to get a Captain America Black Panther.
Ooh, no, that no.
And one other, although they kind of set up the Winter Soldier to be in that kingdom at one point. Hello to Marianne. She says hello.
Hello.
And the last person who has been in the comics has been Black Panther is Venom. There was a storyline where there was someone who was paraplegic and made a deal with the Venom symbiote to she was from Wakanda, and she made a deal with Venom to be Black Panther, and so you had a Venom Black Panther. So
cool. I like that. That's kind of a wacky way of doing that. I think that my own personal opinion on this thing is Shuri is a very popular character. I think that since the MCU is so terribly anxious to get some diversity or whatever into their thing, I don't think that they can look past having a Black woman as Black Panther. And also leading into a possible A-Force spinoff.
That's my prediction.
Oh,
right.
wow.
There's that scene in Endgame where all the ladies come together.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I never thought about that being the A-Force stuff from the comics and stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my prediction on that. Does anyone else want to say something?
No, we could talk. We could talk forever on this.
Murphy says he used to dance in college under the stage name Black Panther.
Sean Murphy's going to be the next Black Panther.
Yep, we're spoiler right here.
Spoiler alert. And Ronnie says, "You boys better step it up. The cats are stealing the show tonight."
Cats always steal the show.
They certainly do. They do that. All right, we're going to the next subject. All right, our next subject is the New Mutants. After numerous release date delays, holy cow, so many, and savage reviews, 20th Century Studios, the New Mutants, it's Cat Night. The New Mutants, a spinoff of the long-running X-Men franchise, opened to 7 million in 2,412 locations this weekend. That's about, by anyone who's keeping track at home, that's about half the theater locations in America, which was enough to top the domestic box office. It added 2.9 million in 10 international territories for a global debut of 9.9 million, according to estimates from Comscore. Disney inherited the film in its takeover of 20th Century Fox.
The redheaded stepchild.
Who here, by
that's me,
if you want to raise hands, has seen New Mutants? Anyone?
Nobody's brave enough.
I happen to know that Sean has seen it, so we're going to him first.
I liked it. It was okay.
Yeah,
it wasn't
all we're talking about now is the New Mutants.
It wasn't fantastic. It wasn't life-changing, but what I really walked away from that movie was that I really liked the characters. I really liked the actors and the actors' portrayal of the characters. I thought Maisie Williams did a fantastic job. What is it? Anna Taylor-Joy. Is that right? Anya Taylor-Joy?
It's close.
She's awesome. I love her and everything anyway. So even though I can't say her name properly, but
that's okay. We're going to get it. Anna Taylor-Joy.
Anna Taylor-Joy.
Anya. Like the music person, Anya. That's Anya.
I'd originally seen her in the movie Witch, and I thought she was fantastic in that.
She was.
That movie's amazing.
right? And so from there, I've tried to keep an eye on her progression as an actor, and from the stuff with M. Night Shyamalan to even some of her period pieces, she's just been a fantastic talent, and I sincerely hope that they explore these characters more, hopefully with a better story, hopefully with a little bit more MCU direction. But overall, it was okay. It wasn't horrid. It wasn't the worst superhero movie I've seen. Wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst.
Did it focus on the original 5 New Mutants? I guess not if Magic was in it.
Kind of, sort of. Well,
that was one of the complaints by one of the original creators, is that Magic was in there and she wasn't one of the original characters.
Okay.
Bob McLeod, his name was misspelled in the movie, and he was very upset about it. He was also upset that some of the characters didn't look like the characters in the comic as they, as
he got his check.
Without spoiling too much, what was the characters we got? Did you get Mirage?
You had Wolfsbane, you had Mirage, you had Sunspot, you had Magic, and you had Cannonball.
So they took out Karma and gave us Magic instead. Okay.
Hey, we got a special guest. Let's get him in here.
Hey, Walt.
Hey, guys.
Hey, brother.
Thought I'd drop in.
He's got an announcement for us, but before we get to the announcement, do you have anything to say about Black Panther?
Man, like I said before, it's going to be hard replacing him.
Amen.
It's going to be really, really hard replacing Chadwick Boseman. I've been struggling with this all weekend long. I mean, it's been I've got a lump in my throat just thinking about it right now. But I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. Whatever they do, whoever they recast as the part, good luck to them. I'm pretty sure they'll do a great job. I'm not going to trash that person, whoever gets it. I'll be behind them 100%. I'm just afraid that everybody else out there in the world is just not going to show them that kind of love.
Right.
That's my only take on that, is whoever gets the part, happy for you. But I'm also sad because I know the Twitterverse is going to go crazy on you.
Oh God, that's probably true.
Chadwick set that bar pretty effing high. I mean,
he did.
And
he did.
I agree 100%. Whoever they get to play that part, God bless him, because he's got the world on his shoulders.
Yeah. But definitely.
All right. Well, Walt, you've got an announcement to make. Have at it, man. The floor is yours.
So, excuse me. So, I know, Dirk, you approached me about this when I told you that I was getting my own streaming show together.
I'm all about the promotion,
and I think I may have it all ready to go. So I'm.
That's Walt Daddy's.
That's Dad. Hey, Dad. So I've tentatively set a premiere date for the Throwback Thursday Retro Show for September 17th.
September 17th. I'm writing that down.
September 17th. I'm officially asking Scott to be one of my first guests. If he wants to be a regular, he can be a regular.
Breaking news.
So I'm looking to get 2 more guests. The first retro show that we're going to watch is we're going to watch the first 5 episodes of the first G.I. Joe miniseries.
Nice.
Hey, yes.
So, it premiered in September back in 1983. So I figured, why not do my premiere show in September, right, almost close to the time that that school started and it premiered. So, September 17th.
Walt, have you been following the G.I. Joe Classified series of action figures? I noticed.
I have not been to my local toy store to have them order those for me.
Yeah.
I did see that the latest Cobra Commander, they released the preview of what it looks like. Gotta have it.
Dude,
Yeah, awesome.
that's like looks awesome.
Gotta have it. But yeah,
Ronnie said
17th.
congratulations.
17th. Right now, I'm just going to run it once a month because I haven't gotten all the graphics ready for it. But the way that I plan on running it is going to be kind of like pop-up video. So I'm going to pop up some information about the show, whatever show that that I'm going to show.
Sweet.
We'll talk over it so that we can avoid all sorts of copyright rules. But we'll do pop-up video style with trivia. We'll discuss the trivia and go on from there and enjoy the show. So be sure to tune in. We'll run it possibly on my Facebook page and my Twitch channel, as well as the Taskforce Geek YouTube channel.
Fantastic.
That's awesome, Will. Walt, I will have to talk to you more about this. I'm not saying no, but I might try to talk you into pushing your date back because I'll probably be traveling that day in a car.
We can. Hey, like I said, that's a tentative.
But we'll
date.
talk.
It'll be on a Thursday. Just remember that.
Okay.
All right.
We will be in touch for sure. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
B-Ran, I think one of your buddies is chiming in here. Says, great show, guys. More Walt, less B-Ran.
Fair.
All right, guys. I will see you back in the comments.
Hey,
See
Walt,
you.
thanks a lot, buddy.
You're welcome.
Looking forward to it, brother.
All right,
All right,
see
thanks.
you later.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see that. That'll be fun.
Well, I was just talking today about Walt keeps talking about this show. I wonder when he's going to pull the trigger. And
He's
ready.
Honestly, the issue is that it's technically it's kind of complex.
Yeah, I bet so.
He's got multiple heads, and he's got a layout, a graphic layout that he has, and he has to figure out all the technical aspects of broadcasting, audio and video, and then also having the people's faces on there and stuff. It ain't easy.
No, sounds awesome though. That's cool.
Yeah, should be fun. And that's cool that he's going to have you on there. That's awesome. Let's go to B-Ran and let's talk a little bit about, if you would, about. You said that you saw Bill and Ted's this weekend.
I did. I bought it on iTunes. It was only $5 to buy it instead of rent it.
So you own it forever,
right?
I do. Unlike Mulan, which comes out next week, which you own forever as long as you subscribe to Disney Plus. So you don't really own anything.
Right.
It was exactly what I was expecting and hoping. Very light fare. Probably my second favorite Bill and Ted's movie.
Really?
Yeah, I like the first one more than the second. The artsy fartsy people like the second one better. But yeah, it was. It felt a little cheap in places, like they had to cut some corners. I agree with some of the critics who I watched afterwards who said Alex Winter kind of stole the show over Keanu. Keanu he looked weird. I think that we're so used to seeing him as John Wick now. We don't see him as a whoa dude anymore.
Right.
I thought that looking at the trailers.
His face looked weird, like he was.
That's right, Walt.
They aged him up. He looked older in that movie than he does even in live interviews. It was very strange. But I thought the daughters also stole the show. I'm a huge fan of Samara Weaving.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yoga
pants? Was she Yoga Pants? No, that's someone else.
Yoga Hosers or something? Wasn't she in that?
She was in that Ready or Not was the one I remember her from.
All right.
Which was a great horror movie.
She was just in that with Harry Potter.
Oh, she was?
Yes.
Swiss Army Man?
Nope. She was Nyx.
She was in a movie with Harry Potter.
What the heck? Daniel Radcliffe.
We sound like the old guys.
Guns
Captain
Akimbo.
America was
Guns
the
Akimbo. Okay, yeah. I've seen that pop up on my feed.
She played Nyx in Guns Akimbo.
I was discussing with my wife about her, how she's almost like a character actor. She's a very handsome woman, like a Hillary Swank, where you wouldn't say she's hot, she's handsome. Where if you were to make out with her, you might feel a little gay.
She is, I believe, she is the niece
Of
Hugo Weaving.
Hugo.
Yeah.
So she's got some family in the biz.
Yeah, and she's also distinctive looking.
She's part elf.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I could see her playing an elf.
Yes.
Very easily.
Yeah.
The princesses didn't even need to be in there. They had one good moment, I think. But aside from that, it was another take I heard I agree with. It was kind of a musical tribute in a way, because while Bill and Ted are dumb, they do know a lot about music. If you follow the lore, they actually had to learn about music, and their daughters know even more. So if you're really into music, it's also a good one. It takes the music more seriously than the other two did, which I thought was interesting as well.
That's cool.
There is a cameo by the late, great George Carlin. So
Fantastic.
Really?
that. Yeah.
I had read that they had a pretty I don't know what they honored him very well. Is what I read.
Yeah, they didn't do the Grand Moff Tarkin creepiness. They did it in such a way where even with their limited effects budget, it was effective and tasteful.
Awesome.
Cool. That's one of the things that I complained to.
Yeah, the new one is if you're familiar with Flight of the Conchords, that show.
Yes.
Yeah. There was a girl from that show. She plays the new George Carlin, and she's pretty good. But
seen her in the trailer. Yeah.
So I would probably not buy it for $24.99, which is what it is to buy now, and I wouldn't rent it for $20. I'd wait for it to go on sale, but definitely worth it.
How much did you pay to stream it?
$24.99, and I download it. I own it, so it's not even a rental.
Oh, okay.
It was $19.99 to rent, or $24.99 to buy. So,
well, I think it's interesting because we have a few options here, and what I wanted to talk about is Shawn and I went to the theater this week, and we chose to actually physically go to the theater.
Yeah, how was that?
Yeah, that's part of what I want to talk about is that it's unusual. I'm the type of person who loves the theater experience. I want to see a movie in the theater before anything, and there are certain movies that I think are only good in a theater. Anything less than that is not as good. So anyway, I was excited to see that you could go back to the theater, but it was weird. Instead of going to the box office, you went to the candy counter to get your tickets, which was kind of unusual, and I think maybe might have been a business decision, because if you're right there to buy the tickets, you're also there to buy some popcorn and Coke. The theaters are, like, for example, with Tenet, they are squeezing the theaters right now. If you don't know, the Tenet wants 70% of the ticket price on this cut. If you want to know why tickets are so doggone expensive, it's because the studios are taking anywhere from 50 to 70% of their cut. So, if you want to support your local theater, buy some expensive popcorn, because that's how they're keeping the lights on around there. All of the theaters were not open. A lot of the stations were covered in plastic and stuff. Everyone was, of course, wearing masks. Social distancing was very much in effect. You could pick an area where you were separate from everyone else. We were nowhere near anyone else in the theater, which is, that's actually kind of nice. I always hate getting crammed in next to a bunch of people I don't know. So that was kind of nice. I like going to theaters. I thought it was really nice to be able to go back to the theater again. And I'm anxious to go see Tenet, which is pretty exciting. So, I know that I've talked to a lot of people. They say that basically half of the theaters right now are open. And if you poll people that might be interested in seeing a movie, only 40% are interested in going back to the theater right now. So it's interesting that B-Ran watched something streaming, because of course that's the other option right now, is that you can do some streaming. So that's the situation that we're in. I mean, I feel fine. I didn't have any problems. I'm as healthy as I'm going to be. So, you know, I survived the experience. I felt, I felt safe all the time, safe as I was going to the grocery store or anything else that I've been doing. And, but I also understand that a lot of people are going to be a little squeamish about that. Shawn, you went to the theater with me. What was your impression of going to the theater during the pandemic?
The only oddness that I felt was that we had to go to the counter to get the tickets. Obviously, they have a limited staff, so instead of having,
I agree, Gary.
Hi, Gary. Instead of having a bunch of staff selling the tickets, they moved that to with the smaller crowds. Obviously, the people behind the counter can handle the ticket sales.
Gary, did you go see Tenet?
At that point, so
sounds like it.
I'd go for the early show. We went
for the late show.
It was 10 o'clock. We went to the IMAX. It was fine. The crowds, they were small. There wasn't a huge crowd in any of the in the auditorium, in the theater, anything. It was fine. I didn't feel out of place. I didn't have any issues. Yes, the emptiness of it all was a little creepy.
Murphy went with us.
But
it was a little creepy. It was a little bit like, because I mean, we went to the Warren in Moore, which is a very large theater, and we went to the IMAX, which is a large theater. So yeah, all of those things being closed and not having movies on those marquees where it just said Theater 13, Theater 14, Theater 15. That's literally what it said. It was a little weird. It felt a little like a ghost town. And, being the Warren, it's so huge that it kind of amplifies that a little bit. Go ahead, Shawn.
Well, I was just going to say they were obviously playing in other theaters. There were other people, going to these other theaters, seeing these other movies. Everything was fine. It was definitely left over from
That sounds bad.
I'd still eat it.
Yeah. Who wouldn't eat it? I mean, he still ate it too.
Yeah. But
I loved them.
Otherwise,
they were chewy.
The only complaint that I had is that they switched from Coca-Cola to Pepsi.
Oh, I would never go back. That
burned me bad.
I was raised too well to switch to Pepsi.
Right.
At least I didn't switch to like RC or something.
Oh, God help me. Yeah, that's really the only thing that disturbed me. Granted, I don't drink soda all that much whenever I'm at a movie theater, but beyond that, everything, I thought it was fine. Obviously, the crowds were small because people are just now getting back to
that is maybe theater. But let me tell you something. I live in Moore, the same city that y'all went and saw this movie, and we decided to go out to eat once this weekend and more, and we will never do it again until stuff calms down, because there was everybody in my town. Everybody eats out every meal. Yes. And the restaurant we went to, we thought they were like spacing out seating just a little bit, and then they sat some people down. I mean, 1.5 feet maybe from us, and literally. And the dude turned his head and sneezed, and I said, "Check, please. I'm out of here." Just because, I don't want to carry that stuff home or hurt anybody else with it. But no, it was way overpacked in all the restaurants. So I will continue, if I'm in more, to get something to go and stuff like that's the first time in a long time that I felt semi unsafe at like a public place.
It's been a while since I've heard this statistic, but Moore, Oklahoma per capita is one of the, I think, the top 5, top 10 places where people eat out. I believe everyone eats out every meal in Moore, Oklahoma.
It's awful. If you don't get up on the weekends and go eat at 6 a.m., if you get up at 8, you can't get into a restaurant unless you want to wait.
It's been a while since I've heard it, but that was a statistic from some time ago.
Anyways, they're jam-packed. If the Warren wasn't jam-packed, I'm shocked. So I'm glad you had a good time.
It wasn't, but it might be next weekend when Tenet is large.
We also tried a new restaurant which I think just opened up.
Mm-hmm.
It had quite the crap. The food was great, service was great, although he did not refill our drinks, which I didn't even notice until Dirk told me.
He did not fill my drink back up again.
But
but the food was good.
Beyond that, yeah, everything.
I mean, you might as well say what it is.
Yeah, where'd you eat?
What was it called? Hidalgo's. Yeah.
Oh,
I was going to let him say it. It's Hidalgo's in Moore, Oklahoma.
I enjoyed it.
Okay, good for y'all.
But then again,
Shawn says that he eats out on the weekends.
I eat all the time, so none of that bothers me.
Well,
what is Murphy talking about?
You're an older white gentleman.
Blow away their kitchens. Are you saying that we eat out because we don't have? Because tornadoes have attacked us?
I think they're just lazy. My mother,
Moore, Oklahoma, is known for several really ridiculous tornadoes coming through there.
My mother's lived in Moore for the past 15 years, and she's told me ever since the beginning that no one cooks anymore. Everybody goes out.
Gary confirms that there's only 30% full for Tenet last night. That was last night, though. That's Monday
Tuesday
night. I don't know how many people,
See, the theater by me is kind of a ghetto theater where even on prime time, it's $8 for a ticket, which is great.
Wow, that's awesome.
It sometimes smells like sewer in there.
That's not so awesome.
We saw Avengers Endgame there on opening night, and that was the most crowded it was, and I'd say it's about 3/4 full.
Wow.
The only thing I think is they sell weed. I don't know how they stay in business. But I, for one, hope theaters go away because I hate the theater experience.
Wow.
Well, there you go. I mean the streaming thing where you release a movie either directly to streaming or you give an option where you could choose to go see the theater or do streaming. You like that?
I do.
I think I like that too.
Some movies you want to see in theater. I would say Tenet probably falls under that. Any of Christopher Nolan's movies, probably at least the first viewing in a theater. I get that for some movies, but for like what I saw, Bill and Ted, no, you don't need a theater experience for that one. Plus, I have a lot of medication that make me pee a lot, and I drink 5 gallons of Coke Zero when I go to the theater. Anyway,
I get that. I personally.
What were you going to say, Shawn?
Well, I to follow up with that, I too, if the movie has to be appropriate for a theater experience. If you're going to go see a Star Wars movie, has to be in the theater.
Well, at least the original trilogy. The other ones you're better off just not seeing.
If you're going to see Sense and Sensibility, I can catch that at home. That's well, I wouldn't watch it, but you know what I'm saying. It all is really dependent on what the movie is as to whether or not I need to see it on a gigantic screen with the booming DTS sound and all the fresh popcorn out of the till and so on and so forth. So yeah, I'm right there with you there. Bill and Ted's, I don't know. I've seen the other two on the big screen, so I'd probably want to catch it on the big screen just, as my own personal trifecta. But I get what you're saying. I agree with that.
Do you think that we're going to keep the theaters open and it's going to continue to grow from here, or do you think there's going to be a retraction?
I do.
Or,
no, I think it'll stay.
You think it'll continue to get better from here? It's downhill from here.
The only reason that the theaters would close again is if there
Wow.
was another release of some deadly virus that wipes out half the population, and everything has to shut down.
I don't
The
think
theater-
lockdowns will ever work again. I think people are
Right.
fed up.
Right. So I only see this going up from here.
Gary really enjoyed Tenet, folks,
Fantastic.
which makes me really want to see it.
Does it
I-
make
I-
sense, or is it just
Yeah.
You have
some
to see it
people are
more than
saying
once to enjoy it.
that- I like films like that.
weird?
Walt says the theaters will stay open.
Yeah, for sure.
Although I'd be curious if Mulan for Disney ends up making big bucks at their $30
Oh, yeah.
price point.
Oh, wow.
I
I'm
could
glad
see
you brought
them
that up.
switching, Black Widow.
Because what is that streaming at? $30, is it?
$30. Yep. And
So that's on top of
own
your
it as
Disney
long as you
Plus.
subscribe to Disney Plus.
Yeah. That's a very interesting experiment. I can guarantee you that theaters do not appreciate this experiment at all.
No,
There's-
because
there's
$30
video.
is the price because it's for most people are going to take their kids. And if
Exactly.
you take your kids
If
to a
you got a
movie and buy them snacks,
Family of 4,
$30
you're-
bucks is a bargain.
you're saving money. You don't have to get a babysitter, whatever. I mean, yeah, that's money in your pocket, and you don't have to go anywhere.
There's videos on YouTube of
Gary
theater.
says the Tenet is confusing as hell.
There you go. There's videos of theater managers literally destroying their Mulan stand-ups because they invested so much money in advertising for this upcoming film that is now going to be streaming on Disney Plus.
Well, and Disney was being such a bully with the Star Wars movies, taking a bigger cut, insisting on X number of screens. So
We've talked to the management. We made friends with some of the management at the Moore Warren, and great guys there that kind of give us a little bit of background on how movies are purchased and how much they have to pay and how they've got to make up the loss in the films and so on and so forth. I feel for them. I feel for the theaters and everything they have to go through just so that we can see, a poorly written Star Wars film, or as in the case of Gary, a fantastically produced Tenet film. So
what I don't get is how AMC and the bigger, like Marcus, I don't know who your big theaters are over by you guys, how they haven't filed for bankruptcy yet. How could they go this long paying that rent on those giant properties in all the hottest areas on the country?
Gotta be a deal in there somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
They have to be getting some sort of kickback from the government just to keep everything in the green, or some sort of
deferment for rent, maybe. And
yeah, something. In fact, I think that's why our theater shifted over to Pepsi, because I know that Pepsi pays. Well, they pay you to
Money.
push
It's
their
money.
product, so they're going to get a kickback from Pepsi, which is going to lower their bottom line, so that they can push even more sugar-filled crap down our throats. So.
All right, I got to get us out of this segment, guys.
Mhm.
So we're gonna go to the next segment right now. All right, we want to talk about this tonight because of our guest, and because we're going to be talking a little bit about. Was it Nacon? Nacon and Cyanide have announced that Blood Bowl 3, the latest video game adaptation of the Violent Sports board game, is set for release in early 2021 on every platform you can imagine. Revealed during Gamescom 2020, Blood Bowl is a turn-based strategy game inspired by football in the Warhammer world, where elves, humans, orcs, and more play ball together. Players take on the role of coach, giving instructions to players to put them in the best positions as possible on the field, with the board game set to have a new edition this year. Blood Bowl 3 will feature the new edition rules, teams, like the new Black Orcs, and Imperial Nobility units and their associated skills. Before we get any further into this, let's talk a little bit about our guest today, and I'm going to turn that over to Scott to do an interview. with
Are you
that.
going to turn that over to me? B-Ron, you're part of the Zlurpcast TV.
Yes.
Tell the world what is Zlurpcast TV and the origins to come onto YouTube, because back in the old day, I followed Zlurpcast when they were on iTunes and through streaming services as a podcast. So can you take us through that process and how you became a member of Zlurpcast?
Well, JP will read me the riot act if I get this all wrong. So I'm going to definitely try to get it all wrong. It started at a Blood Bowl. There's 3 phases of Slurpcast. Phase 1 was a traditional audio podcast talking about Blood Bowl, the Games Workshop fantasy football game. That is a terrible, terrible game and no one should play it. But it started out with, it was just Extreme, which is Brian Mitchell, and Johnny P, which is Johnny P. And they would talk about, them going to tournaments and traveling all over the country to go to various Blood Bowl events and their love for each other, unrequited, allegedly, love for each other. I think they did consummate it at Oklahoma Bowl. Is that correct, Scott?
Yeah, they came down to Oklahoma Bowl and they shared a room. So I think that's what happened. So
Yeah.
You got your facts straight so far.
Okay. So, and then I would say phase 2 is when they moved away from Blood Bowl and moved into what we call the dark days of gaming, their Mantic phase. Mantic is an expression I learned from Johnny P. It is the 4-striped Adidas version of Games Workshop. It's imitation Games Workshop games for people that can't afford them. Games Workshop. Fueled by Kickstarter. Doesn't mean the games are bad. Some of them are quite good. You should follow Zlurpcast on YouTube, and we've reviewed quite a number of them. And then they basically switched from just doing Blood Bowl to doing various games, not even just Mantic, other games. And that was phase 2. That was also an audio-only podcast. And then they went dark. I think Brian and JP had a lovers' quarrel, and that they thought that was the end of Slurpcast.
That's always the way.
Yep. So then we were still chatting on Facebook Instant Messenger, and I said, hey, do you still have the audio files for the old Zlurpcast? Because I was a guest on one, and I wanted to listen to myself speak. And that somehow led to, let's start a video podcast on YouTube. And then we started shooting that. And that is, each episode is a new subject. Most of the time it's a game review. But then we have filler episodes for what we can't think of anything better to say. And we started doing that about the same time that this started happening.
Uh-huh.
So great minds think alike. We have literally tens of fans out there.
As do we.
I got
share some of those 10 fans.
I got my first payday as the video editor and producer of $24 from our merch sales. So
Wow.
So go to slurpcast.net and buy lots of merch.
Well, lean up and show off that shirt, because one of us on Taskforce Geek did that artwork. Oh, that might have been me.
Yes, Scott Prime. So this is JP. That's Extreme. This is me, and that's Valdrick, otherwise known as Mike Muller.
Yep.
Anyone in the gaming community knows who Mike Muller is.
You know what I got for that shirt design? Nothing, because I didn't design it.
No,
he just took my art and slapped it on a shirt, which he bought anyways.
By our legal team that he has the rights to it. I think that was in the deal.
Yo, for sure.
I did buy my the actual original artwork of me that you did at Chaos Cup.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yep, which is a big Blood Bowl tournament, which I usually do attend. Even though I hate Blood Bowl, I like watching it for some reason.
Are you going to be around this year at Chaos Cup?
I don't think the wife will let me go.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, as of this moment, I'm like 90% sure I'll be there in a couple weeks. So.
Well, it looks like they're 54 confirmed last I saw from Jeffro.
Yeah, it's getting to be way bigger than I expected it to get.
Yeah, I thought it would be a couple dozen at most.
I did too.
But hey, people got to get their Blood Bowl, and stuff's starting to open again, so maybe the timing's right.
I figure it'll be a weekend of playing a game and then just going up to my hotel room and staying away from people. So
I was gonna go there and walk around with a squirt bottle and just cough behind people and spritz their neck. Not very happy.
That will get you kicked
Damn.
out, I'm sure.
Even as a celebrity, as a podcasting celebrity, no. So yeah, that's and I met JP via Adepticon and mutual friends. Adepticon, for those that don't know, is one of the biggest tabletop wargame exclusive conventions that's in the Chicagoland area. Also another place for a big Blood Bowl tournament, Stupor Bowl goes on there. And we started playing Mantic games, and then we realized that, hey, we can afford better, and now we primarily play GW games and whatever catches our fancy. Mainly skirmish games, smaller scale, 15 miles or less. Ideally on a 3x3 board so you can play it at any table. That's what we like.
Yeah, you're one of those weird gamers that actually paints your models. So
Yeah.
Congrats to you.
Well, you can tell I'm interested in a game when I actually have it fully painted, so it's not very often. Star Wars Legion is probably my most fully painted game right now, which is a war game version of Star Wars, which is actually really, really good. I highly recommend.
I've heard a lot of good things about that. We sell quite a bit up at the store, and I just don't even want to try it because if I like it, then I'm dead. You know, like no money, nothing like that. But
well, it's also like it's weird. The model quality isn't super great, but that makes me want to paint it more because I don't feel like I have to do so great a job because they're kind of funky anyway.
I gotcha.
And I can paint stormtroopers super fast.
So I'm just going to kind of get in my little story. So I do a Blood Bowl podcast called Boat Down, as we talk about every week when we go push our other projects. And Zlurpcast was one of the first podcasts I listened to. I didn't even know podcasts existed. And, started listening to that because they were talking about a game I like. And I remember we went up to Chicago. JP was running it. And, listened to him on the podcast and stuff. And like on the way back from that trip, that's when me and my co-host on Boat Down, Steve Campbell, were just talking about trying to find our own niche in the Blood Bowl at the time, the podcast network. And so like crazy enough, I wouldn't do the podcast unless I had like the blessing of Johnny P and Extreme. So I like emailed those guys and I was like, hey, I don't want you guys to think like we're copying you, but you're obviously a pretty big inspiration, and at the time we didn't know that they were just regular dudes. So we kind of looked up to them and then we became friends and now we no longer look up to them. But, but I basically got their blessing. Like, is it not going to bother you if we do a podcast? And they said, hey, no, go for it. Have fun with it. And that's really cool that you're doing it. There should be other options. Because when they first started out, they were like, they did tournaments, because no other podcast was covering tournaments. So I knew about players all across the United States because they reported on it all the time. And so going to that Chaos Cup tournament for the first time is like, oh, I know who Frank Bradford is. Oh, I know who Matt Vanderby is because I've heard about them on this podcast. So it was a really cool thing at the time. And, here we are many, many years later. I still have a podcast because of them. And I love their Blood Bowl podcast. And I know they both got kind of probably burnt out and tired of playing Blood Bowl, as most people do, because Blood Bowl is a grueling game. And B-Ron, you said you weren't joking when you said you hate Blood Bowl.
Correct.
I mean, there's a lot of people like that. So I totally get that. But
I like the idea of Blood Bowl. I just don't like actually playing Blood Bowl. That's why I like Blitz Bowl. It's got all the flavor of Blood Bowl, but
in a board game format. Yep. And that's a lot of people like that too. Blood Bowl is one of the most cruelest games because even when you win a tournament, you sit around and go like, well, I could have lost if that guy would have had a better roll or done this or that. Cause it's cruel. And even talking to Jennifer, I've been discussing for the last few days what team I'm going to take to Chaos Cup if I go. And she said, well, take something you want to play. And it's like, it's Blood Bowl. I don't want to play any of it. I want to go, but I hate it, and I love it at the same time. So I totally get it. But I know you guys play a lot of miniature games, and that started leaking into the podcast in that second edition, like you were talking about. And then I don't know if JP and Extreme really got into a lover's quarrel, but they might have. But I know that they took, JP got a job and moved far away from you guys with the radio business and stuff. So I'm glad that you got these guys back to doing something. And now we have Slurpcast TV. I think it's pretty awesome.
It's great to be back. Such as
All right. Well, we're going to go to B-Rand about the subject of this, which is the Blood Bowl 3.
Blood Bowl 3.
Have you played that, or what's your impression of the video
I played
game
Blood Bowl 2. I would say quite a bit. I probably played about 10 games of it on PlayStation 4. It is, to me, just as frustrating as the board game experience. It somehow manages to get you to roll that 2 when you don't want it. It is probably, and again, I haven't played a lot of real Blood Bowl, but it seems like one of the best reproductions of a war game / board game in video game format, as far as being true to the original source as I've ever seen. I know a lot of newer Blood Bowl players came from only playing the video game. The presentation is amazing on it. Like when I saw the trailer for Blood Bowl 3, I'm like, well, the graphics don't look that much better because they already look pretty damn good. But then I see it's coming out on the Nintendo Switch, and that would probably tempt me to get it, being able to play that in a portable format.
Yep. I totally agree with that. Some little news and notes that I just saw, if I can find my news and notes here, on Twitter. It was released from the people that are making the game. They said there's going to be more races at launch and after, more in-depth solo mode. So if you'd like to play Blood Bowl, but you don't want to play the trolls online who are going to quit as soon as you either hurt one of their guys or they just get tired of it, or the smack talking, supposedly a way more in-depth solo mode, it says better visibility to the competitive scene. What I think they might be doing that with our current state of the world. I think you might see more big-time tournaments, or even things that in regular tabletop Blood Bowl, there's a ranking system with the NAF. And so I think you're going to hear a lot of the NAF stuff with the Blood Bowl online. And then it's supposed to have a lot more customization, as well as being cross-platform. So I can play on my Switch, and maybe I can play the guy that's on his PC, which is what I do right now with Rocket League. So if it does that, I think that's going to be pretty amazing. And they're really syncing all this up. The new Blood Bowl rules have been leaked. From everything I've read, I really like what they're doing to the game. And the game hasn't changed much, really, in the last 25 years. So to get a whole new kind of revamp of the rules, and most of it's the same, but there's enough changes that are really great. And they're supposed to all sync up with, so if you come from the video game and come to tabletop, you should fit in just fine. And if you go from tabletop to the video game with the new rules, you should be just as fine. And over the last, I'd say, I don't know when Blood Bowl 1 came out, but for sure the last 5 years, people that played the game online got into tabletop play. And to be truthful, those guys who play online are usually better players than the guys who start off on tabletop, because it's kind of us older guys who are playing tabletop because we've always played tabletop games, versus the younger guys who, when you sit down and me and you are breaking bread and playing Blood Bowl, we talk the whole time, right? So 4 hours later, we finish. But when you're online, you just play, and you can get 2 or 3 games in, while maybe I only get 1 or 1.5 game in at the shop. So a lot of these players can always find somebody to play, and it's online, so they get a lot of repetition and a lot of practice on that. And I know one guy I call him local because he plays in our area, but he's up from in Kansas City. Kendall Bowser, he came from the background of playing online, and a few years later, he won Chaos Cup, which is a tournament that hosts almost 100 people every year. So that just shows you that a good Blood Bowl player online can be a good player in tabletop as well. So it's really looking forward to it. I mean, I still rather play tabletop any day of the week. I don't even own Blood Bowl 2, but with this cross-platform stuff and the Switch thing, yeah, it's going to be kind of interesting to see what I do with Blood Bowl 3.
Let's get a couple of comments out of the way. Jonathan has some nice things to say. He says, Both Down is a better Blood Bowl podcast than Zlurpcast ever was. We just
I don't know about that, but thank you.
Scott and Steve actually care about the game.
We do love like the role playing side of the game. Like B-Ron said, he loves everything about it except playing the game. And there's oftentimes, so do I, because it's such a cruel game. Thank you, Johnny. That's a nice compliment.
Gary says, agree. It's a great adaptation. And just as frustrating, maybe more, since I always think I wouldn't have rolled those double skulls.
Well, what's interesting is with the sickness that's going on, a lot of people have been using Tabletop Simulator to play their war games remotely. If you do that with Blood Bowl, you could play the computer version, and it's such a good facsimile that it's already there for you.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
And Tabletop Simulator, while it's a good way to play, you get on a Zoom call or some type of Facebook chat or something and play a tabletop game, it's not great. No. I mean, it's okay. It fills in the spot of sitting around with your friends, but it's not great.
10 years ago, it would blow our minds.
Oh yeah, for sure. And in 10 years, it'll probably be amazing too, like as they improve it. So.
Marianne says, maybe I should have bought it. Do you think that...
no, wait till Blood Bowl 3 comes out, or if you want to get into the tabletop side, I would say wait till Blood Bowl. I think we're all calling it Blood Bowl 2020, or they're calling it Blood Bowl. The second season is supposed to come out, I think, around the holiday season.
That being said, the video game version, you can find it on sale on Steam and even on like Xbox or PlayStation 4 super cheap sometimes. So if you see a good deal, why not?
Well, you could. The only thing I would say is like so many little skills and rules are going to change that I would just wait. But it's up to you. I mean, if you find it for less than $10, go for it and see what you think.
I think I actually downloaded that on my Xbox, and I have yet to play it.
You download a lot of stuff and don't play it.
It was free. It was one of the free games, for Xbox Gold. So I just went ahead and downloaded it. And I haven't played it yet.
Do you have any thoughts on? Did you watch the trailer? Or
I did watch the trailer. It's a great cinematic, but it doesn't show me anything about gameplay.
Yeah,
no, I mean the trailer was kind of disappointing. I mean it's cool looking, but like I don't know.
I don't want to put you on the spot. Do you have anything you want to say about this? Since
I know absolutely nothing. I've never played it.
Well, I mean I'm in the same boat. I just wanted to. If you didn't have something to say, I wanted to give you a chance to
I will say
it looks cool.
I will say this past weekend, I'm friends with some of the writers and designers who write the Blood Bowl books. They came out with what they call the Spike Journal, which is a whole little supplement for like a team. So when they release a team, they release the miniatures, some special dice, usually a Blood Bowl pitch, a field that goes with the team. In this case, it's Snotlings, which is a new team. That they haven't had really too many new teams, over the years. So this is a new team that they released. And one of the guys who helped write it at GW said like he showed all the magazines. Now this was issue 10. So he showed those and he said, this is the most, like fluff that's been written or background that's been written for Blood Bowl in the like last 25 years. And he's right, because that's more than all of it maybe combined. And it's really good magazines from the standpoint of some people will buy this and go like, oh, I don't want this. There's nothing new in there. Well, I love it because it has all the stories and goofy things about certain characters and character interviews and stuff. So to me, like I said, Blood Bowl's always been about fantasy sports role-playing campaign.
And if you're familiar with Games Workshop, all their games, their major games, be it fantasy or sci-fi, they're all super grim and super dark, grim dark.
Mm-hmm.
Blood Bowl's comic relief.
Yeah.
And it's great.
And I think that's what it always appealed to me is, even when we had Pete on, Pete's always told me that it's sports and Looney Tunes. It's not the grimdark stuff that, B-Ron was talking about. But my point is that writer mentioned like, this is the most fluff that's been on here. And his boss came in underneath it and said like, this also is not only the most stuff that's been written about Blood Bowl. He said Blood Bowl is more popular than ever. The video game really reached a younger crowd, I think, and a bunch of people that Blood Bowl needed, because it was turning into a game where a bunch of 40-plus-year-old guys were playing and you didn't see too many young kids. So I think it's really cool that the video game's out. It gets the younger people to, try it out. And some people don't want to invest in the miniatures, so they're always just going to play the video game, while other people like me would, invest in the miniatures and get their team painted. And it's a lot easier to play you one-on-one, face-to-face, because if you're doing well or doing bad, you're not going to cuss at me and talk trash, because, I'll get up and sock you in the face. So there you go.
Does anyone have any other thoughts on this subject before I move on?
No, Blood Bowl's in a good stage though, man. It's pretty cool. I'm excited because that means like we won't run out of anything to talk on the podcast for a while if it keeps living. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. When did you first play Blood Bowl, Scott? I mean, what year?
It was the summer of 9th grade. So that would have been 88, folks. 1988, I think, maybe. Somewhere in that area, 88, 89.
Who would have known that there would be video games and new supplements? And
well, we were at the game shop in Crossroads Mall at the time, and it was called the Hobby Shop, and they had all this GW stuff, and I loved all that stuff, but couldn't afford it because miniatures were like, $6 for 4 guys, which is laughable now because one guy is $6,
Right.
And we wanted everything there, but we saw this sports game, and Gary's telling us right now what year it was, May 88. It was for his birthday. He spent his birthday money on it, and me and Robert were there, and we were egging him on, you got to buy this, you got to buy this, and he bought it. And I remember his mom going, I can't believe you're going to waste your money on that. And all these years, like, I never had the original copy of Blood Bowl, but I feel like I think we all got something out of it, but I always felt like I was the blessed one to get like the most out of Gary's buck for his birthday. It felt more like my birthday, and we took it home and we played it, and we probably played the first 20 games all wrong because we kept rereading rules and going, oh, did you know this? Did you know you could do this? Which is usually the case with most GW games. You kind of learn as you go. Yeah, it was like
$50.
I thought it was 40, but he's probably right. It was probably 50, but which was a lot back in that time, like I said, I remember teams back then were for metal miniatures was like $20. I thought I'm never going to afford a team. I need to ask for them for Christmas and stuff. And now, I spend double that for half the miniatures. So it's pretty crazy.
Board
games, and they're plastic.
Board games were having their moment before the Backstreet Boys reunion tour. But now, I mean, with people being stuck at home and needing to do something,
board games are still really popular right now.
I mean, board games are probably more popular than they've ever been.
You know what we sold out the most of, though, at the store during all this Backstreet Boys reunion tour?
That's
puzzles.
for you, Casey Jane. Really?
Puzzles. A lot of people are building puzzles, and we can't keep them in, and the puzzle people can't.
Interesting.
They're sold out, so they can't give us stuff to restock. It's crazy. But anyways.
That's pretty amazing.
We've talked enough about this.
We have. We're going to On Blast.
All right.
All right, On Blast, we talk about something that we're consuming right now, whatever. Games, movies, reading something, whatever. So first, I'm going to go to our guest, which is B-Ran.
Stuff I've been doing, I've gotten in thanks to Extreme from Zlurpcast. I've kind of rekindled my passion for action figure collecting.
I've noticed that lately.
Yeah, specifically the new G.I. Joe line and also Marvel Legends, all 6-inch figures.
I
even started doing the Star Wars Black Series.
Oh man, that is cool.
So I'm going to stick just to the Troopers. So these are the first two. And
Shawn
I already
likes
that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Shawn has a stormtrooper fetish.
Yeah.
It's true. It's very, very true.
So I've been doing that. For games, I just started playing last night and stayed up too late, the new Marvel Avengers game on PlayStation 4. Also,
what's your impression on that?
I'm kind of surprised how in-depth the single player is. I thought it was going to be sort of like Destiny, like a looter shooter, but they spent time and effort and resources in crafting a so far compelling story.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm shocked.
I'm almost shocked.
Yeah. I'm also shocked that so far the most fun character to play is Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel.
Wow.
who I
Also shocking.
wasn't a fan of, really. I didn't know much about her. I thought, like, why does she have Mr. Fantastic powers? She looks dumb. But she's just kind of like a fangirl of superheroes and becomes one, and she's a lot of fun, and she's the most fun to play in combat. So that's
interesting.
So far, so good on it. I probably put more hours than I should have last night into it.
Very cool. All right, Shawn, you're up next.
What have I been reading or nothing. I really haven't been doing a whole lot of anything. Haven't watched any of my programs. Haven't.
Dude, don't say programs. That ages you.
Do you watch your stories in the afternoon? Like,
there are days when I get up and I turn on the TV.
Walt says he's consuming champagne right now.
Champagne.
No, I haven't. I had like I've got 2 episodes of The Boys I need to finish. I haven't done that. I really haven't been doing anything except just working on artwork. I know it sounds terrible, but that's pretty much all I've been doing. I haven't even read anything lately other than articles here and there. It's pretty sad.
All right, Scott, you're up.
Well, I'm going to consume this Cobra Commander action figure that B-Ron just put up on Facebook or something. So you can just send that right to me. That is awesome. I've been consuming the new Blood Bowl rules, as many leaks as I can get a hold of, and the new Spike magazine that focuses on the Snotlings. I've been focused on going to Chaos Cup, where it's it's the U.S. major that we have here. We have 2 majors out of I think there's 5 majors in the world, and we have 2 of them in North America. We have the Chaos Cup here in America, and then we have the Spike Cup that's held in Canada. So on this side of the world, those are 2 big giant tournaments and everything. So I've been really working on rosters and deciding what I'm going to take and try to compete, and wasting a lot of time on that, which means by the very first game I play, I'm going to probably roll terrible and get destroyed, and then my shot's out the window. So all
then
for
you
nothing.
get to go to the loser tables, which are more fun.
Well, they really are, B-Ron. You're right. I thought about taking just a really fun team of these Snotlings and just going to see if I could win a game, because you're not supposed to win any, because the loser tables usually are the fun ones. That's where everybody's drinking and, maybe doing more. And so you usually get a lot of free drinks and stuff down there. I do want to talk about this. I'm not going to do a prime review on this, but this is Transformers 84. It's by IDW. It's written by Simon Furman, who wrote a ton of G.I. Joe stuff. It has great art in it as well. It is it's a series it's filling in the gaps of the old Marvel Transformer comic book. So if there was some downtime between issues and you wonder what happened, or what backstage behind the scenes politics the Decepticons were playing on, that is in this book, and it's only on issue 2. They had a 0 issue where there was just a one shot, and then they had this limited series, and issue 1 and 2 is obviously out. So if you are an old school Transformer fan and you remember the crappy comic, but you still loved it anyways because you were a young kid, I highly suggest picking up Transformers 84 while you still can. The art is really nice, in the sense that it feels just like one of those old kind of Marvel comics and stuff. It's kind of colored the same way too, so it's really nostalgic, and I've really, really been enjoying that. So other than that, I haven't finished my Transformers War for Cybertron series yet or anything like that, but that I've been doing some artwork, so been struggling through Clip Studio Pro or whatever it's called, and getting angry at that.
It has a lot of different names. It changes names weekly.
Does it really?
It's on a rotating name basis.
Well, I'm working in Clip Studio Paint, and I'm like, is this the same thing I bought? I don't even know anymore.
It's Clip Studio. It's Clip Studio Paint Pro. It's Manga Studio.
Let's just call it Clip Studio. I'm struggling going through there. I found out today that I've wasted 8 hours today drawing something in the wrong tool, and we're just going to learn from it and move on. So here we go.
Good stuff, man.
I do remember one thing that I did, and that was I was playing the Division, trying to figure out Twitch over the weekend.
Oh yes, I wanted to mention.
We Dirk and I had talked about streaming games every now and again, and so I did spend some time trying to figure out how to stream Twitch from my console, and apparently I screwed something up. I've got to go back and fix.
I mean, you broadcast pretty good, but we couldn't get his voice on there, which of course is
the audio.
I mean, that's the magic. That's the magic right there. Is where you
or recording. So I've got to figure out what I did wrong there, but otherwise I did nothing.
It was streaming, and if you just wanted to watch Shawn play the game, it looked great. but you couldn't hear him talk about what he was doing, and that's where the magic happens on Twitch, is that you get your commentary and stuff. So is anyone out there interested in watching us play games? That still fascinates me as an entertainment choice. But
I think it's a generational thing, because
I think so too.
I can't get into Twitch that much. Usually if I do, I'm watching something other than video games.
We have some metrics that we're getting on YouTube now, and I can tell you that most of our audience is 18 to 35-year-old people.
Wow.
The vast majority of our audience is 18 to 35. I think that's fascinating.
That is cool.
There you are with that word again.
Well, I think I picked that up from Spock, man. Marianne says she would watch us do Twitch. There it is. Walt says he watches a lot of Madden football on Twitch. So I don't know. Look, I think it's cool. We'd like to do it. We're doing experiments. We need someone who knows what the heck they're doing so we can figure it out.
Once Shawn figures it out, maybe we can do some Rocket League on Twitch.
Rocket League.
Everyone, you're gonna laugh at me and
stop the press.
Good. I thought you have to play Fortnite to do that.
No, I don't play Fortnite.
I kind of think that if you did something that was unusual, you would attract more people. Am I wrong on that?
Maybe.
Like you played something kind of obscure.
You're completely wrong.
Okay.
I think if you're a hoochie mama, you can attract more people.
Yes, no doubt. I mean, we don't have that advantage. So, right. I mean, yeah, there it is. Anyway, my on blast this week is something called Gate, which is a anime series about a gate that, of course, gets dropped in Japan and opens up that area to like another dimension, and it's basically a fantasy dimension. And so these fantasy soldiers come into Japan and get their butt kicked, and so then they create an expeditionary force that goes into this medieval world. So it's like Humvees versus dragons. And it's pretty interesting. The guy who is leading the group is a big kind of geek. He's into all of this fantasy and science fiction stuff. So it's pretty funny to see how he reacts to all these things being real. And it's got a lot of heart. It's actually pretty interesting story so far. I've only seen 3 episodes, but I like it. It's pretty cool.
It reminds me of the movie The Final Countdown. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah. Oh, I love The Final Countdown. That is an awesome movie. Yes.
For those who don't know, it's the aircraft carrier goes back in time just before the attack on Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we have superior weapons.
By Kirk Russell.
Kirk Douglas.
Excuse me.
And Martin Sheen.
And Martin Sheen.
Wow, I'd forgotten that he was in that. I'd like to see that movie again.
I'd like to see a remake where they actually do take out the Japanese Zeros and see what happens.
Yeah, because they kind of balked at the end on that thing.
Yeah, they do a Star Trek ending like Prime Directive nonsense.
Yes, yeah, we can't change history.
Yep.
Screw that. Walt says that he's watched Casey Jane on Twitch.
It's hilarious.
Walt says he saw Final Countdown at the theater. I think I did too.
I did. You guys are old.
I am. I'm not denying that. All right, our last little section here. It's coming up here. It's promo time. as always, we go to our guest first on promo time. Just give us the rundown on where people can go to find you or any of your projects.
Mainly for what I do, I'd go to youtube.com/Zlurpcast. New episodes go up every Sunday at midnight, covering mainly gaming topics, either reviews of games that we're currently playing or gaming related topics like hobby tips and things like that. Like I said, new episodes every Sunday. Zlurpcast.net to buy merch like this shirt with this logo with artwork, cross promotion artwork provided by Scott.
Thank you.
Yep, and you can follow me on Instagram at Rush Nachos, RUSHNACHOS.
That's pretty awesome. All right, we're going to Shawn next.
Nothing really to promote. Still working on artwork, and when I get to a stopping point, I'm going to be jumping back onto the website to load a bunch of artwork that I recently dug up. You can find the website at rankingstudios.com, or check out our Facebook page, Facebook Ranking Studios, and give us a look, see what you think. Any compliments, any critiques, any just complaints that you want to share with the group, feel free.
That's good stuff, man. Thank you. Double Pretty.
What's up? I'm Double Pretty. I'd like to just pop the podcast, boatdown.com. I'd also like to give it up to Zlurpcast TV as well. B-Ron and them did a episode of the Kickstarter for the board game I did the artwork for with JP, and I thought it was very interesting because he spoke very frank about some of the things that he should or shouldn't have done in his Kickstarter. So if you're out there and you have a Kickstarter project, whether it's a board game, a comic book, or anything else, I think you can't get enough of listening to some of these stories to kind of figure out what's right for you or what's not. So take a look over there if you're interested in some of their games that they're playing or other content they have. So other than that, I'm currently busy with artwork, and I'm probably not taking commissions at this moment because I'm so busy with this other stuff that I have to hurry up and get out. So anyways, that's it.
All right. They're dancing around it, but we're working on a project right now. Three of us are working on this project. Shawn has laid some stuff out, and Scott is penciling some stuff, and I'm supposed to ink it. So we're all kind of busy on that. I am playing catch up on all of my artwork. I have commissions that I have due, and I've done a few of those. I'll be releasing those in the next few days. You can check them out over at facebook.com/Dirk Hooper Artworks. And again, check out Ranking Studios, because when we get the thing done, we're going to be pushing it like crazy on there. It's all three of us working together. That's pretty exciting, right? Yeah. So head over to rankingstudios.com. We're all available. Our artwork and our projects are all available there. Let's back out of this sucker and say, we got a lot of comments. You guys have anything you want to add to the show before we wrap this up?
No, just keep spreading the good word. Our subscribers keep going up, the views keep going up, so it's starting to finally catch on a little bit. So
and share, like and share.
Make a comment, good or bad, on our things.
Yeah, I mean, especially on, we get a lot of comments on Facebook because people are watching on Facebook, and so they make comments. But it would be awesome to get comments on YouTube in particular. That would be really cool if you guys would go and make some comments on this episode or anything else. There's some Prime reviews on there, and I really wanted to review New Mutants, but I'm behind on everything, so I don't know if it's going to happen or not. But anyway, there you go. Gary says that he bets the final countdown holds up really well. Ha ha. Well, the time storm returned before they got a chance to change history.
Damn time storms.
Yep, I hate that. I hate when that happens. Marianne says I need to get more clips of my video game playing. I ain't very good though. Double Pretty wasn't very spicy tonight. You notice he's not wearing the crown.
No crown tonight. I'm just pretty. Double pretty.
Is Jonathan JP?
Yes.
Yep.
He says, thanks for the plug. I'll do a game design guest host episode for Taskforce Geek if you'd like to. That would be awesome. Very much like that. We'll send Scott over there. That would be a good choice.
Man, you guys keeping me busy.
They look great, by the way. Oh, thank you, Gary, very much. I appreciate that, man. I got something I'm going to share tomorrow. Anything else that anyone wants to... Walt says that the final countdown's at Walmart for $5.
Oh, snap.
Nice.
So there you go. If you want to get your fix. Anyone want to say anything else before we wrap this show up?
No, thanks for watching.
I'm gonna take that as a no.
Take it on
If you're a comic artist or illustrator and you'd like someone to look at your portfolio, we already have one of those from Marianne that's sitting, waiting for Shawn and I to do. But if you want to have a portfolio review, then get in touch with us at taskforcegeek@gmail.com. Visit us on the Taskforce Geek Quora space or the Taskforce Geek Facebook group. There's a lot of activity over there. We're having a lot of fun. Join us on there. Thanks everyone for watching this. Please leave a like and share. Wherever you see this, it makes a huge difference. So for Shawn, for Scott, and for B-Ran, this is Dirk Hooper saying dream hard.